How to customize Windows. There are hundreds of settings that control how Windows operates and displays items on the desktop. Windows provides defaults for these settings. This video gives suggestions for customizing some of the settings to suit your personal preferences. I'm using Windows 7 Professional 64-bit version. Most of these changes will apply to all computers using Windows 7 or later. Display file extensions. I like Windows to display the file extensions, the part of the file name following the last period. File extension, a couple of more file extensions. To display or hide file extensions, click Start, Control Panel, Appearance and Personalization, Folder Options, click the View tab, and then check or uncheck this box that says Hide Extensions for Known File Types. It is not checked. That means I'm not hiding the extensions, as you saw. If we check it and click Apply, if you click OK, it will cause that to take effect, but it will cancel this window, and I don't want to cancel the window. So let's click Apply. Now if I just move the window slightly, you'll see that the extensions are no longer shown here and here, and they're no longer shown on this display of the file contents. So I'm going to set it back to where it was, because that's where I like to have it. So I will uncheck the box, and now I will click OK, which will both apply it and get rid of this window. So now it's displaying my extensions again, which is the way I like it. So you can change that to suit your own personal preferences. Adjust mouse settings. Adjust mouse settings. Mouse settings show how to find the cursor when it's difficult to see on the desktop. Adjust the speed the pointer moves on the screen as you move the mouse, and adjust the time between the clicks of a double click that will open a file. For each mouse change, begin by opening the Mouse Properties window. Click the Start button, type Change Mouse Settings. I believe it's off the bottom of the recording area, but type Change Mouse Settings with spaces between the words. Now, click it where it's highlighted in the upper part of the search box's results. And there's the mouse properties. Finding the cursor. Sometimes the cursor is difficult to see on the desktop. The cursor location function will show a bullseye around the cursor whenever the Control key is pressed. Again, you click Start and type Change Mouse Settings, and then click Change Mouse Settings in the search box to open the mouse properties screen. To change the mouse location function setting, you click Pointer Options, and then check or uncheck this box that says Show Location of Pointer when I press the Control key. It is checked. That means that when I press the Control key, as I'm doing now, two concentric circles appear around the mouse pointer and then they disappear. If you uncheck it and press and release the Control key, those circles do not appear around the mouse. So if you use the Control key a lot and those circles bother you, you might want to leave it unchecked, but I prefer to have it checked so that I can always find the cursor by pressing the Control key. To adjust the speed of the mouse pointer, that changes how fast the pointer moves on the screen as you move the mouse. To adjust it, you do click the Pointer Options tab on the Mouse Properties window. And here's the adjustment for pointer speed. This one you can test it each time you change it. So for instance, I'm going to move the mouse about 3 inches on my mouse pad. That's how far it moves on the screen. Now I'm going to turn it down to slow. Now I'm going to move it about the same distance. Notice how far less it moves on the screen as you move the same distance with the mouse. Put it all the way up. Now I'm going to move it the same amount, and it practically moves clear across the screen when I move it the same amount that I was moving it. I normally keep this a little to the right of center, but you can experiment and find out where you like it, because if it's too slow it takes you forever to get the mouse to move from one side to the other of the screen, and you need to pick the mouse up and set it back down on the mouse pad when you do that. So I set it about there, and I'm used to how fast the pointer moves when I move the mouse. Once you've made a change, just click OK to close the window. If you're going to experiment with other things on the mouse properties, you can click Apply and then click Other tabs and make those changes, and then finally click OK when you're done. Each time you click Apply, it will put the changes into effect without getting rid of the mouse properties screen. If you click OK, it puts them into effect, but it erases the mouse properties screen. The last setting we're going to show you how to adjust is adjust the double click speed. This is the time between two clicks of a double click. So the way to adjust the double click speed is to click the Buttons tab on the mouse properties window, and here's the slider to adjust the double click speed. Again, if you're having trouble with Windows recognizing your double clicks because you're either clicking them too fast or too slow, adjust this and try it out by clicking the Apply after you make an adjustment until it behaves the way you want it to. In other words, when you double click something at your normal double click speed, you want it to recognize and open whatever it is you double click. So adjust this until that happens, and then click Apply to test your changes, but then click OK when you're done, and this screen will then vanish. Here's how to adjust the display settings. Change these only if you aren't happy with your display size or color settings. For instance, if you're trying to match the appearance of two monitors. Otherwise, you probably just want to use the defaults. Changing the screen resolution will change the size of everything displayed on the screen. I have the screen resolution set fairly low, so that the icons and the taskbar and the icons on the screen will be large enough to read in my video. I normally have them much smaller than that. I have many more icons down this edge. These things are much smaller and take up much less room. To change resolution, right-click a blank area on your desktop and then select either screen resolution to get this screen, but there's a slightly better way. Select right-click the center of the desktop and select your video card's control panel. My video card is NVIDIA. On this display, if you select change resolution, you can also change the resolution, but you have more choices. The highest available resolution for your monitor will give you the best quality video. So unless you have a reason to set the resolution lower, I suggest you leave it at the high setting. I have set it low because I want to make these icons large enough to read clearly on the recording. But when I'm done making the video, I'm going to set them back to the top. When I do that, the icons are much smaller. More of them will fit here, and more icons will fit on my taskbar. I'm going to demonstrate the change, but it's funny because if I change it and click Apply, and I tell it I don't want it to go away in 15 seconds. Now it looks the same size, but the reason it looks the same size on the recording is the recording program has automatically reduced its recording area to compensate for the resolution change. As I look at the screen, I see that everything is now much smaller, but as you look at the video, it looks the same. You can notice the difference though, because when I had the lower resolution setting, you could see the taskbar at the bottom of the video picture. Now it's gone because the reduced recording area starts at the top of the screen and only comes part way down the desktop now. So I'm going to change that back for the rest of the video. And again, the size is not does not look to you like it's changing because the recording area from the programs that's recording the screen is changing. You should now again see the taskbar because I'm now at that low resolution and recording the entire desktop. Now here's how you change the display brightness, contrast, or color, and you really only want to monkey around with those if you really need to. For instance, maybe you have two monitors and you're trying to get their brightness to match, and you're trying to get videos to look the same no matter which of the monitors that video is playing on. And there's a really easy way to check that. Just start a video playing on one monitor and start dragging it back and forth. If you notice a difference, you might want to tweak the settings of one of the monitors to make them look pretty much the same on either monitor. Before you adjust any of these settings, write down their values in case you screw them up so you can restore the old values. Please don't be confused. Next, this tutorial demonstrates how to change the brightness, contrast, and color of the desktop into playing videos. And as I recorded the changes, I did indeed see them on my computer. But when I played the video back, I saw that the program recording this tutorial did not record those changes. To change the desktop settings, click Adjust Desktop Color Settings. Remember, this is the NVIDIA, your video card's control panel. So adjust that. Adjust your desktop color settings. Now these adjustments will affect both the desktop and the videos. And there's a setting here. If you say use NVIDIA settings, you can then make adjustments here to affect both the desktop and any videos that are playing on that desktop. If you click the other one, that means you're going to use a special program to control those things, maybe automatically. So if you're using a special program, you check it up here. But if you're not, you check use NVIDIA settings. Then you can make adjustments here. And I will demonstrate that. This is the desktop settings. Notice, let's find something here. Well, look at the icons there. Watch what happens when I cut. Remember, the brightness is set on 75%. Watch what happens when I reduce the brightness. The screen gets much darker. Any videos playing on the screen would also get much darker. The reason I have it set to 75 is I normally use two monitors, and I have them set so they kind of balance in the brightness between the two monitors. When you buy two different brands of monitors, especially, and one's older than the other, you have to tweak the settings if you want the things to look the same. There's the contrast setting. It does just adjust the contrast. And the gamma will have some effect on it also, but we're not really going to go into the specifics of what that does. Now there's some other settings here that will affect the display whether or not you have a special program. It doesn't matter which of these are checked if you fiddle with these two settings that will affect the color of the screen. So watch the color of the screen as I adjust this. Remember, it's set on 50% now. It adds a color cast to the screen. So I'm going to go back to the 50%. These are both color adjustments. Okay, let's go to 50%. Now, here's the hue. Watch the screen on this guy. It puts all kinds of different colors on there. It's set at 0, so I'm going to go back to 0. So those settings adjust the color. And again, you'd only adjust these if for some reason you were unhappy with your display colors. That wouldn't normally be the case unless you really need to replace your monitor. Video settings, which you get to by saying adjust video color settings. These adjust only the color, brightness, contrast, and color of a video that's playing on your desktop without adjusting any of the settings for the desktop. So this affects only the videos. And again, if you check this circle, you adjust them here. If you check this circle, you can't adjust them here. The settings won't change. But then what you do is you use the video player's video adjustment settings to change the way the video looks. The advantage of that is if you use different video players, you can adjust them independently of each other to make pictures come out the way you want them. This will affect all your video players if you use the settings for your video card. Remember, I have an NVIDIA card, that's why I keep saying NVIDIA here. It's a very common brand of video card. And just a comment, we showed you before, well, I explained before because you couldn't really see it on the screen. When I changed the resolution, it changed the size of the icons on the screen, even though it didn't record that way. There is a way to adjust the icon size without adjusting the resolution. The way you do that is you click a blank area on the desktop, then you press and hold the Control key, and now you rotate the thumb wheel on the mouse. Look at these icons when I rotate the thumb wheel. You do notice they do rearrange as they change size. So that's roughly the size I had them before. So again, you click first to somewhere in the blank area on your desktop, and you press and hold the Control key and rotate the mouse thumb wheel to make the icons larger or smaller. Just some comments on adding a second monitor. I'm not going to go into it here, but if you see my playlist, how to set up your computer room, and the video, add a second monitor to your computer, it'll show you how you set up a second monitor and adjust the displays to use both of them. So you can drag things between the two monitors and get a lot more screen area. If you do have two monitors, though, all the screens we just looked at for adjusting things on the monitors, you would have to specify which of the monitors you want to adjust. Since I disconnected my second monitor for this video, you didn't see a selection choice. But if you have two monitors hooked up, it'll ask you, you'll have to specify which of the two monitors you're changing the settings on. Okay, so we just showed you how to change the size of the icons on the screen. If you want to change the text size in a browser window, I'll open a browser. To change the text size in a browser window, all of the browsers, you can use a Control plus or Control minus. Here's what happened if I hit Control plus several times, then I hit that's what happened if you hit Control minus several times. Here's what happens if you hit Control plus. Plus makes it larger, minus makes it smaller. Of course, your text, your word processors have commands in them to make the size of the text in the documents larger and smaller. To change text size in the browser's address box, you click Start, you type text, you select make text and other items larger or smaller. Now you have three settings you can select from that will adjust the size in the browser's address box and in some other places on your computer. So it's set on medium now. I'm going to go to small. I was on medium. I'm going to small. Now the problem here is you have to log off your computer to apply the changes. So I'm not going to do it. But if you select smaller and then you log off now and log on again, then this will get smaller. If you selected larger and log off and on after you click apply, then this would be larger. But we don't want to do that because my program can't really record the log off and log on process. So I'll just go ahead and close the screen. That is the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching.